We were working yesterday on the first of our word problems, and we got halfway through it in the hour. This is going to be part 2. Our videos right now online are current with what we are doing. So once we hit chapter 3 I think is done. So that means not only will we be current, but it'll be complete, so that then I'm free from the machine, at least on occasion. Depends upon what we're doing. And this was the problem, and the good news about a problem like this is that the mathematical model for this problem was given to us. And anytime the mathematical model is given to us, that's when you say yippee yay. And the mathematical model is this guy. We're going to be finding the model once we start working with our calculators. So that's your model. They wrote it up for you. So that means all I need to know is what represents my input value, what represents my output value, what are the units on each, because things that we're going to be working with ultimately will be things like average rate of change and that kind of stuff, and that has units attached to it. Our answers all have units attached to it. We found out that the input variable was P, that stood for payroll, and the units was in millions of dollars. And the output was T of P, that's your Y value. If I'm working with my calculator, by the way, it's all X or Y. X is always the input, Y is always the output. So I change everything to X and Y. And the output units is also in millions of dollars. P is the payroll of the team, and T is the tax paid by the team. We determined that the domain started at 136.5, essentially million, to infinity. We established that the New York Yankees in 2006 paid $54.28 million in taxes because their payroll being over the allotted amount. So we start with part C, which is to graph the linear function. And so I set up my graph paper, and it's only ever going to be, it's only going to be in the first quadrant, because payroll's positive, tax is positive. Well, you notice that the domain starts at 136.5. So many times in books what you'll see is they'll make a break point, and that's a break in the graph, and then we'll start at an X value of 136.5. And then the Y value is 0. They pay nothing at that point. Now, the range, well, I don't know what the range ends up being. We know what the range ends up being, but we also know that if I have we have a second coordinate point, and the second coordinate point is what we calculated. It had an X value of 272.2 and a Y value of 54.28. So we use that, and I'm just going to come out here, someplace out here, along the way, because we're going to cheat, is 272.2. And then there is a break in this graph, and we're going to put the Y value here at 54.28. That gives me my second coordinate point, and I can't... Is that about right? Did I need to go left or right? I can't tell because of the angle I'm looking at.
Up a little bit.
Up a little bit? Okay. I can't tell because the angle I'm looking at, I can put it in, I look up there and it's off. So now I just connect the two dots because it is a straight line. And that would be a graph of T of P equaling 0.40 times P minus 136.5. So that's the graph of that particular function. So you don't have to get really in there. If I needed it, say I was going to be making a presentation, right? Which means I needed a nice graph. Then I'd go in and do the detail. This gives me enough. It's a straight line. If it wasn't a straight line, I'd have to be much more careful how I would graph it. But a line is enough. And then it says, what is the payroll of a team that pays? Now, remember, we put in payroll, get out tax. Put in payroll, get out tax. Tax is the output variable, right? They've paid a tax, that's your output, of 11.7. That means what is the input? And the case is P equals question mark, and T of P equals 11.7. So in this case, I put in Y and get out X. So this says that 0.40 times P minus 36.5 equals 11.7. Or 0.40p minus, and now I need my calculator, 0.40 times 136.5, and that is 54.6 equals 11.7. Or 0.40p equals, add 54.6 to both sides, so plus 11.7 is 66.3. Or that P is 66.3 over 0.40. Now, one thing for sure I know, it has to be more than how much? 136, because if it's not more than 136, he pays nothing. We're being told he paid 11.7. So, and so divide that by 0.4, and it's 165.75. 165.75 what? Million. So if you want to be nice about it, you can say that the payroll was $165.75 million.